Welcome back to another Wondercat channel video. Today we're going to be doing something very spicy. We're going to be going over some custom Made in Abyss MTG themed cards, a whole deck, a commander deck as it were. I've been working on this particular project for over 2 years now. It's something that I've had a friend or two play test with. I've gone over some cards with people, and I just generally really wanted to create a couple of decks built around the main characters because I thought it'd be really cool to play with, because I believe Made in Abyss is arguably one of the best anime ever made. Let's say story-wise, right? The art's also quite clean as well. The story's very, very cool. I love mystery anime. I love things that are quite dark, and Made in Abyss really hits those notes. We have our little Armadillomon hiding in the background here. He's going to keep us company while we look through these cards. So, yeah, we started off with a Bondrewd deck. He was going to be the big bad of the anime, at least for, you know, the early story, as it were. And so I was like, okay, so Bondrewd would make an awesome Grixis commander. Who is he going to fight against, as it were? Because while I was creating these to be a commander deck, it was just going to be a 1v1 sort of game. And so I was like, okay, well, I could make a Bondrewd deck and I could make Nanachi. And I wanted to create Nanachi as well because Nanachi is my favorite character. And I was like, what? If Bondrewd were Grixis, what would Nanachi be? And surprisingly, it just clicked so perfectly that the three colors that Bondrewd are, Nanachi isn't. And so I could make a Selesnya tokens deck, green-white, token deck that reflects what Bondrewd does. So Bondrewd, we have him here. This is a placeholder commander at the moment. I'll explain why in a minute. But we have Bondrewd here. He cares about artifacts, some life gain, some life loss, yada, yada, yada. And the Nanachi card will sacrifice other cards around her, create 2/2 tokens, that sort of thing. So we'll start off with talking about the deck, I guess. So this is kind of a Grixis control-y artifact themed deck. We have this one here, which I will be using for a little while because the original Bondrewd Lord of Dawn, I love this art, just isn't hitting the right spot. I'm not sure if it's the way I've built the deck or whatnot. So it was a 5 mana card for a legendary artifact creature, Human Delver. Had Ward 1 with Menace. Whenever an artifact enters under your control, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. You can pay 2, sacrifice an artifact, draw a card, then discard a card at random. If an artifact card is discarded this way, draw an additional card. So if you had a ton of artifacts in your hand, you'd pay the 2, sack 1 on the board, hopefully get some kind of benefit off of this, and draw an additional card. So it was like pay 2, draw a card, whatever, blow something up. This whole effect felt a little janky. I love how it reads, but it didn't really work out in game the way I wanted it to. I think Bondrewd is very menacing, so you'll notice that both his variations do have menace. He is going to be something that definitely is worked on in the future, but I think this Bondrewd the novel is definitely going to be our placeholder for now. So what's Bondrewd do? So I've made him a little cheaper. He's a 4-cost. Again, he's got our Grixis colors. This time he's just a Human Delver. I removed the artifact from him because for some reason it just didn't want to fit in the frame. So we've got Delver kind of going over the set symbol here. We have labeled them a MIA or MIA 2024 for the year that I'd made the card. Whereas here we've got MIA 20. Oh, we've got 2024 as well. I made this last year as well. So this just helps me remember kind of where in the design process I'd made the card, and that it's, you know, for Made in Abyss. It's also MIAC, so Made in Abyss Commander, and we don't worry about the 2024 there thing either, or the custom card, whatever. It's kind of irrelevant. Anywho, so what we're going to do here is we are going to build a deck that is centered around artifacts built around some control, and we're going to have a few different little shenanigans I'm going to explain along the way. So obviously, like I said, Bondrewd is our commander. We're going to be playing red, blue, and black cards, and this deck is definitely starting to really come into its own. So that is our commander. What tokens do we play, however? I'm not going to... I'll show you the tokens that we play. We will be playing red-blue insect tokens, so they have flying, just 1/1 flyers. I don't know whether or not the card that makes this particular token will stay in this list, primarily because I feel like it doesn't really suit the deck. I have a card that does extremely similar that is not in these colors, and it's just I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but they're there. The main purpose of the card actually was so that this deck in particular had responses to flying. If you didn't have a removal spell and your opponent just had big boards of flyers, you would be in trouble. So being able to create a big board of insects was kind of like hey, this is a potential check into that, or just to help you kind of get through that. We also have relic tokens. Now, these things are going to be very important to the mythos or the building blocks of these decks and the design process of these cards. Very simple. Just pay 1, tap it, add 1 mana of any color. So it's gonna color fix you, mana fix you, but it doesn't generate mana. The important part, right? And it's an artifact, right? So this deck is going to be looking to create lots of relic tokens to help you mana fix, get your 3 colors faster. And you're going to want to sack these, and cards are going to care about if you create relic tokens, if you have a certain amount of relic cards, so to speak. So yeah, very important, very important. We also have 1/1 Narehate tokens. This is for one particular card. I'm unsure why that looks a little smaller than the other one. That's strange. 1/1 Narehate tokens. They're made off 1 or 2 cards specifically in this deck. Because this deck is meant to be more control-y, I didn't want to make anything really bigger than 1/1s in this list. So yeah, we're just going to have a couple of those. I have made 2 of every token just to represent, if they are tapped or if they're untapped. And we have 1 copy of Mysterious Twins as a token delver, just 1/1. So yeah, anyway, moving on to the main deck. This is going to be where the rubber hits the road. We're going to start seeing some really cool bits and pieces here. So we're going to start off with a couple of our other types of Bondrewd cards. We're going to start off with Bondrewd and Prushka. Legendary creature, 2 hybrid. Gains Death Touch as long as you control another Delver creature, and you can tap, sacrifice a Delver you control to return target creature to its owner's hand. If it was a creature you controlled, draw a card. So there are cards that obviously benefit off of being played, so being able to bounce things at instant speed, sacrificing your other Delvers off, drawing extra cards, yada yada yada. It's like removal spell. It's like an unsummon on a stick, which is pretty cool. Overall, really solid card. These particular cards, so Bondrewd and Prushka, for example, these cards gave me a bit more design space because I wanted to create cards that kind of had the personality of 2 different characters. So very much like we saw in the March of the Machines MTG set, I believe. Whereas most cards you would see, like the commander, it would just be Bondrewd himself. But being able to create cards with multiple people gives us some more design space. We also have the next card, Bondrewd the Blessed, a legendary artifact creature, human delver. Again, we have this issue with it being far too long here. It is a 3-color hybrid with X in its cost. First strike prowess as a 3/3. When this creature enters, destroy X target artifacts you control. If you do, draw X cards. So obviously this is definitely a very kind of late game bomb. It does seem like a fairly cheap creature early game, which it can be. But if you were to drop this, who knows, turn 7, 8, destroy 3 or 4, relic creatures, relic tokens, draw 4 extra cards. Like, it's pretty good. It's not bad, not bad. We have the Umbrahand Merchants, a Rakdos card, Human Delver with first strike, 3/4. Whenever Umbrahand Merchant attacks, you may offer target opponent a relic token. If they accept, they create a relic token and you draw a card. Do not fear, we come bearing gifts. I love this card's flavor so much. So obviously, Bondrewd does really represent that those Grixis colors, but I love the idea that this card is very politicky, and Bondrewd does have that kind of, you do this for me, I'll do this for you kind of vibe to him. So managing to find a time in the anime where he is basically kind of exchanging things was really, really cool. So I loved how this card ended up turning out. I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to keep the double black pip. I do think this deck is very black pip heavy. It is kind of meant to be, but I do want to kind of even it out a little bit because you'll see the stats later. It is quite high in comparison to other colors. And you'll see you'll see why quite shortly. Going on to our Umbrahands, because we can't have Bondrewd without his loyal army. We have Umbrahand number 3. It is just going to be a kind of triple threat sort of thing. So we're going to have a 3/3 pip, 3/3 with Death Touch, First Strike, Menace. So I don't think you're going to be playing this level 3 unless you turn 3 unless you get a really wild opening hand. But yeah, just a solid, rare card, nothing too important. We have cards that specifically care about Umbrahand creatures, so that is a relevant part. We have Umbrahand number 4, a 4-cost, 2/3. Umbrahand cannot be blocked as long as you control another Umbrahand creature, which is pretty cool. So it's only 2, a 2-power creature for 4 is not great, but having pseudo unblockable is pretty cool. By discarding 2 cards, you can return an Umbrahand creature from your graveyard to your hand, activate only as a sorcery. So this obviously cares about you later on in the game. After you've sacked all your bits and pieces off, he just helps you pitch your extra cards you don't need at the moment to help keep your board presence up. Pretty cool. We have Umbrahand 7, which is going to be a mana fixer of sorts, or ramping target as well. So 2 costs, 1/1, tap, pay 1 life, add blue or red, so your other 2 colors. Umbrahand 7 enters with a 1/1 counter on it if you control another Umbrahand creature. Pretty cool. Nice and solid. We have Umbrahand 9, a 5-drop 3/3. As usual, these are all human delvers. When this creature enters, reveal the top 3 cards of your library, add any artifact cards to your hand, and send the rest to the graveyard. As previously stated, this deck is very artifact heavy, or it cares a lot about your artifacts. So this is basically like a dig 3, and whatever you don't hit goes to the graveyard for later that you can hopefully recycle. So not bad, not bad. Stat wise, 3/3. It's whatever. I feel like well designed for what it is. I think you could even make it a 4-drop, to be honest, but these decks aren't meant to be like super consistent. Well, not super consistent, but super strong. They're meant to feel balanced. We have Umbrahand Scientist, a 3-cost 1/3. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a permanent, mill a card. If it was an artifact, draw a card. I love this effect because a lot of this design space for these cards care specifically about sacrificing, because Maiden Abyss, it's a story about loss. It's a story about losing things and the sacrifices that we make to accrue value. So this flavor really hits hard in this card, which is sweet. You can pay 2 black and exiling 2 relic cards from your graveyard to return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield tab. So it's a nice little recur engine that can help generate you value over time. Fairly weak, 1/3 for 3, it's whatever. Next we have our Umbrahand Force Shroud. Human Delver, 1/1 with Menace and Undying. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, remove a counter from target permanent. Now, this deck wants to make 1/1 counters, or neg1 counters, I should say, if we were using the original commander, putting a neg1 counter on target creature. But the Nanachi deck, being Selesnya tokens, cares about putting +1/+1 counters on things. So Umbrahand Force Shroud is more or less just a kind of nod to that matchup, saying, hey, if you want to put counters on things, I'm going to swing, deal damage to you, hopefully, and remove a counter off your things, not make them as strong. We also have plenty of things that create like charge counters, just other kind of counters as well. So he can remove things off there as well. Pretty cool. We also get into some of the legendary Umbrahand cards. We've got Ashen Gaia-Reich Umbrahand, a 6-drop 3/6 legendary creature, human delver, of course. He has Menace and Protection from Red. When Protection from Red is actually a really cool flavor piece here, because he is the guy that you see that burns the the flower fields. So when he is discussed by some characters in the story, he's called a pyromaniac. So Protection from Red just felt funny here. When Ashen Gaia-Reich enters, a target opponent may sacrifice a land they control. If they do not, draw 2 cards. Why would they want to sacrifice a land? Whenever an opponent exiles a card or sacrifices a land they control, scry 1. So you're basically paying a bit much for a fairly underwhelming creature, but if your opponent doesn't want to go down land, you draw 2 cards. It's pretty good. If they do sack the land, scry 1. Yeah, it seems okay. Here we go. He is a common after all. We are taking into consideration rarity when it comes to card design. So I think he's a fairly decent card. We have Guerra Umbrahand, a 3-cost legendary creature human delver with Death Touch. Delvers you control gain sacrifice this creature, add double colorless. Whenever a delver you control dies, if it was sacrificed, create a relic token. So this card, very strong, very strong. That is why it's a mythic. A 1/3 for 3, again, not super great. Has Death Touch. We're probably not going to attack with it. We can block with it, I guess, if we need to. But this being able to blow up your other Umbrahands for ramp and gaining relic tokens, crazy strong. Very good card. We love Guerra. We also have Beto and Remio Umbrahands, legendary creature human delver, double black with X in its mana cost, Death Touch and Menace as well. These Umbrahands, very menacing. When this creature enters, put X 1/1 counters on target creature. Very simple. Again, it just a 2/2 for 2 technically with Death Touch Menace. That's already a pretty good going rate, but it'll scale okay because obviously it can potentially nuke something late game or just make a big creature not so big. Not bad. We also have Remio get his own card. Captain Shroud, legendary creature, human delver. Umbrahands you control get +2/+2. Awesome Anthem effect, very wild Anthem effect. He's a 2/3. When Remio attacks, target creature you control gains Undying until end of turn. So you can give himself Undying if necessary. And if you control the Zoaholic, at the beginning of your end step, you may exile target card from a graveyard. There will be cards in these commander decks that care specifically about being in the graveyard. So this is more a hate kind of control piece as well. So very, very strong card. As it says, Umbrahands you control get +2/+2. So we have currently gone through, oh my gosh, let's have a look. We have Beto and Remio, we have Guerra, we have Ashen, we have Umbrahand Force Shroud, Umbrahand Scientist, number 9, number 7, number 4, and number 3, and Merchants. So we actually have quite a few targets here that he can buff up. So he definitely pulls his weight when he hits the board if you can keep your Scientist boys on the board. Cool card. Next, we have our darling Prushka, but she's looking a bit evil. Triple black here. Legendary creature, human delver, Undying. Delvers you control gain Undying as long as this creature has no counters on it. So obviously, if she were to come back because of Undying, she'll come back with a 1/1 counter on it, and your board no longer has Undying. So this also combos very well. Haha, look at the shenanigans we have here. This also combos very well with our Umbrahand Force, Shroud, because you can remove counter from target permanent. You can remove the 1/1 counter from Prushka if you wish to give the rest of your team Undying again. So that's pretty cool. Combos. We have Kravali Solo Delver, a 3-cost in oh god, black blue, what is that? I can't remember the damn card color combo name for life of me. A 2/3 with Death Touch. Once per turn you may cast an artifact card from your graveyard. If it is destroyed, exile it instead. So this just helps you recycle things late game. Yeah, nothing really more to say. It's a decent card. It's pretty cool. I like Kravali. Kravali is one of the more interesting characters in the story. I do wish he'd gotten some more screen time, but hopefully we'll see some more flashbacks including him and what his relevance is to the plot. We also have Gabaroon Combat Enforcer, a 5-drop legendary artifact creature golem with Menace and Trample. Gabaroon Combat Enforcer does not take combat damage from other artifact creatures. He's a 3/5, so he's okay. This, as you can see, these decks, the decks creature power, like their power is not particularly high. It's looking to control the board and chip in. We also have Maruk Blue Whistle, a 2-cost 1/3. At the beginning of your upkeep, scry X, where X is the amount, I should probably say number, is the number of artifacts you control. When this creature blocks, you may draw a card, then discard a card. Very solid card, just, helps you generate some value over time. Nothing too much to say. I like the Maruk cards. Our big drop Emperor Shell, a 6-cost flash vigilance. When this creature enters, scry X, where X is the amount of life you have lost this turn. So this will usually be a card you will be casting on your end step or after combat. And tokens your opponents control enter tapped. This card will help set up your draws for turns to come. If you lose 10 life, you're scrying 10. It's like, we are potentially seeing a lot of cards with this card. That is kind of the trade-off, is you will basically be able to sculpt the next couple of turns with this card if you are smart, but you are sacrificing a lot of life for it. I like that he is a big beefy boy. 4/6 for 6 is pretty good. He has vigilance, so you can still block with him if necessary. All around, I like him. We have Inkflower, 2-cost 2/1 little fish. Tap, add a blue. If you control an artifact, add black or red instead. So obviously this card will help ramp slightly, but if you are making your relic tokens, he can help you mana fix. So also very cool. We have Tortured Soul of Iruburu, a 3/3 human delver with lifelink. Is a pretty good going rate. This creature doesn't untap during the untap step, so obviously if you're swinging with it, it is not going to untap itself. Though if you pay 3 and untap it as cost, you get to make a 1/1 token. That is where our 1/1 Narehate tokens come from. Very cool, very cool. We also have the Hunting Delver, a 3-cost 2/2 with haste. When it enters, you may discard a card. If you do, it gains +2/+2 until end of turn. So a 4/4 with haste for 3 at the cost of discarding a card. It's not bad. But if you discard an artifact, gains +3/+3. So it's a 5/5 if you discard a artifact. That's pretty good. That can threaten some board states. We, of course, have our Mysterious Twins. This is the artifact creature card that would create the Mysterious Twins token. So it's a 3-cost 1/1. When this creature enters, create a token copy of it. So we're going to create a token copy of Mysterious Twins. Very nifty. So, of course, we have our nice, pretty one and just a generic, oh, aren't they cute together? This is also very important as well because they are artifact creatures, and we, of course, like our artifacts. We also have just a nice little defender here, a 2-cost 0/3 wall. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, scry 1. Nothing more to say. Prophet of the Abyss, a 6-cost 3/4 with haste. Whenever you cast a devil spell, you may discard 2 cards. If you do, copy that spell. It also has a blue and tap it. The next devil spell you cast this turn cannot be countered. This card will do shenanigans. I am so excited. I haven't played with this card yet. I love the idea of it. Flavor text. It said only the determined or the insane willingly challenge the abyss. This art goes so hard. I love it so much. I tend not to have favorite cards too much. Like I try not to, because I want to be objective when I'm making cards, when I'm designing cards. But just this card as a whole is beautiful. I love it. Love it. We have Delving Delegation, a 3-cost 2/2 with Prowess. When Delving Delegation enters, you may discard a card. If you discard an artifact, you may draw 2 cards. So, or you should just say you draw 2 cards. So, as you can see, there's this trade-off that you have in the deck. You could say it's kind of conflicting, but you know, you kind of get a choice on how you want to play it, right? So you can play these like Umberhand, Control-y, swarm the board with like Anthem sort of effects and stuff, and Undying, and Umberhands don't go away. Or you can play these like kind of artifact control-y ways, but if you don't want to play with your artifacts, you just pitch them and generate extra value. So cards that specifically care about your relics will obviously want you to play those artifacts, and the other cards that don't, obviously you generate more value off not playing them. We also have Kite Needle Dragon, a 6-drop 4/4 with flying. It's a beast. When it attacks, you may discard a card. If you do, return target artifact from your graveyard to your hand. If it was a relic card specifically, create a relic token. And you can pay, it's Dimir. You can pay Dimir, a blue and a black. Tap it. Target opponent loses life equal to the number of relics you control. Haha, very cool. Very cool late game ability. We do like throwing just a couple of extra little mana sinks on cards. Now, disclaimer, probably should have added this at the start. These cards do not follow all their traditional naming. Unnamed creatures, for example, like this, have placeholder names, creature names that I have come up with personally. So Kite Needle Dragon being I just kind of looked at the card and I was like, you know, it's very needle-like. It has this kind of really beautiful kite shape as well, and I was like, you know, yeah, Kite Needle Dragon seems to fit it. I love it. We have Hunting Splitjaw. Of course, we see our little gnat here being munched on, or not really being munched on, but, you know, almost getting munched on. A 4-cost 3/3 flying first strike. When it enters, if an opponent lost life this turn, you may destroy target artifact with CMC less than or equal to the amount of life lost. Very cool. So this is obviously going to be a main phase 2 card. But, yeah, I love the Splitjaw cards. The Crimson Splitjaws, very cool. So whenever I can make one, I'm pretty excited to see how I can design with it. So those are all the creatures. It's pretty cool. We've got a couple of, you know, non-human creatures, but a lot of them are going to be Delvers because, you know, Bondrewd is our White Whistle. Onto the sorceries. We have a 3-cost colorless sorcery with Kicker 3. Just create 2 relic tokens for 3. So this is this was deliberately made to be colorless as well, so that any deck that wanted to specifically work around relic tokens can do so. If the spell was kick, search your library for a relic artifact card, add it to your hand, and shuffle. Pretty good. Obviously, you will reveal it whenever you're searching for something in particular. This is a generally solid card. We have Painful Consequences. 2-mana sorcery. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. If you attack with a creature this turn, draw a card. Just some more card draw, just some more exiling shenanigans, being able to kind of extend your hand a little bit. Yeah, not too much. Unexpected Discovery. This is, oh my gosh, I can't think of the card name. Fabricate. It is a 3-cost blue sorcery. Just search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle. As an aspiring delver, finding artifacts is just one of many bonuses. We do try and keep text boxes out of the art because we want to enjoy the manga's art as much as we can. Sometimes we can't. Sometimes the text box might work as well. So, you know, we deal with it when we can. We have a 2-cost Study Session. Sorcery, create a relic token, draw a card. This will be played, you know, fairly early. Obviously, if you don't have your early black mana, and you can just drop this turn 2, create the relic token, will help mana fix you, just replace itself. Not bad. Legendary Sorceries. Cast this card only if you control a Bondrewd, Srayo, or Liza creature. very conditional. Activate the following depending on the creature's control. This means if you control all 3 of these characters or all 3 of these creatures, you will be able to play or activate all 3 of these effects. If you control a Bondrewd, destroy all tokens target player controls. If you control Strio, target opponent reveals their hand. You may cast 1 instant or sorcery spell without paying its cost. Pretty good. Liza, exile target creature and gain life equal to its CMC. So it is a removal spell, life gain, potential kind of board wipe sort of thing, and just free casting spells. Pretty strong. It is a 6-drop, very conditional, but, you know, not bad. Perilous Journey, 2-cost sorcery. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card at random, create a relic token. I love this card. I love the art. I love how it's kind of full art, goes through the box. Reads really well just in terms of the borders and whatnot as well. Makes you your relic token. You're discarding at random, which kind of sucks, but, you know, it's +1. +1 in a relic token. Not a bad card. Whoop! We have cards running everywhere. We have Precarious Descent, a 2-cost sorcery. Target creature gets -3/-3 till end of turn. If it dies during combat this turn, create a relic token. So obviously, this is more a card that will force people to block, or you know, you can also use this on your. You could probably use it on your own creature if you really wanted to, but I mean, like, it's, you know, whatever. Descending the 2nd level was scarier than first thought, and you can see, oh gosh, I'm going to have to use like a pen here or something. You can see, you know, the 3 of them just chilling out here, Maruk and Rico and Reg. Really cool art. We have Edo Front Sendoff, another 2-cost black sorcery. Draw 2 cards, lose 2 life. You may choose to have each opponent draw a card to draw an additional card. So, really interesting. I know there are a lot of cards, or like politic cards, where these sort of effects don't tend to work, or like people say there's not as much value because you're drawing 1 card, but each opponent's drawing another. So, like, they're drawing 3 essentially for you to draw another one. But if you want to look at it as just, you know, lose 2 life, draw 3 cards, that's pretty good. Enchantments. We don't have too many of these. We're going to play Unexpected Poisoning, a 4-cost enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you don't control. When a creature an opponent controls dies, when a counter is placed on it, draw a card. There's a wording issue with this. I did post it a little while ago, but it should play. It should play as intended anyway, which is the important thing. Again, because this deck was meant to be centered around neg1 counters, we're going to have a few of those cards, and yeah, it just generates you value over time. We also have a slightly smaller version of it, just as a curse, so it should be an aura curse. Waste away, 2-cost. Enchant creature. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a neg1 counter on enchanted creature. When the enchanted creature dies, obviously destroy this card. And Uncovering the Truth, a 4-cost enchantment, double blue. At the beginning of your upkeep, declare a card type, then reveal the top card of your library. If the declared type matches the revealed card, add it to your hand, otherwise send it to the graveyard. This card will work in other decks as well, but since we are playing blue, since we have quite a few scrying shenanigans, I thought this would make this deck would fit this card really well. Onto our instance. Now, there are very rarely a couple of cards that I will keep just purely as if it were a pure magic card. This is one example. We have Deflecting Swap. We should all know Deflecting Swap. If you've ever played Commander, it is a very strong card. Instant, if you control a commander, you may cast this spell without paying its mana cost. So, cast for free. You may choose new targets for target spell or ability. Very strong card. Very strong card. Don't need to say much. We have Incinerator Blast, which is going to be a copy of Chaos Warp. 3-cost instant, exile target permanent. Its controller reveals cards from the top of the library till they reveal a permanent. That card is placed onto the battlefield, shuffle the rest back into the library. Love the art, but yeah. The Weight of Love. A 1-cost instant as an additional cost, discard a card. The Weight of Love deals 5 damage to target creature. Another card that I absolutely adore because of the flavor text here. Riches and prestige, friendship and trust. She was willing to give up any and all of those things. She wished to have you. Chills. Jiro explaining to Rico just how important she was. We can see Liza underneath the curse repelling vessel and Ozen carrying it. Big Ozen. Yeah, love this card. Very cool. We have Agonizing Pain, a 3-cost destroy target creature. If it was a human, create a relic token. Not bad. Rewriting the Abyss, triple black, exile target non-land permanent. Exile, very important. Gain life equal to its CMC. Not bad. Love the art on this. Look at that. Just Incinerator Blast. Yeah, awesome. We also have Turn to Dust. So Turn to Dust is going to be just, it's kind of just a worse version. Like, obviously, this is a mythic. This is a common. Exile target creature, gain life equal to its toughness rather than its CMC. So technically you could gain more life, but it is more expensive. We also have some counter magic. We have a Challenger Approaches. 4 mana, instant, counter target spell. If the spell was a creature spell, create a relic token. Pretty cool. If you control more than 2 relic tokens, draw a card. So this obviously, conditional, you're going to gain more, value out of it depending on what your board state is like. But I wanted to just slap on a bit more extra text on it because it is a fairly high-costed counter spell. We also have Mock Water. Double blue, exile target creature. Its controller creates a 2/2 Narehate token. We technically should have 2/2 Narehate tokens, but, because the opponent is making them, they can deal with the token. we aren't controlling it, so... I mean, you could use it on your own creature. I don't see why you would, but yeah. We have Diving Deep, a 1-cost instant. Target creature gains +0/+1 and hexproof until end of turn. Just a nice little protection piece. We also have Amaranthine Attack. So this card is going to be very similar to the... this card is the card that will create our insect tokens. So it's a red and a blue and X. Create X/1/1 insect creature tokens with flying. Yeah, nothing too special, just helps create flying blockers at flash speed. It's fine. Pretty good card. Just don't know if it fits the deck. We also have Collateral Damage, a Rakdos card, 3-cost instant. Destroy target artifact or enchantment, deal damage equal to its CMC to any target. So blowing up a 3-cost, dealing 3 to your opponent, blowing up 3-cost, dealing 3 damage to a creature. Like, it's pretty good. Pretty good card. Like this card. Onto our artifacts. We have the Mysterious Cartridge. Ooh, beware the cartridge. It is an artifact that 3 cost, tap, add 1 mana of any color, so it'll help mana fix you. It's an artifact. Seems pretty solid. Tap, sacrifice a creature you control, put a charge counter on this card. I wonder why it has this ability. We can tap, sacrifice this card, draw cards equal to the number of charge counters on it. So obviously, the more we invest into this, the more we're going to get out of it. If your opponent destroys it before you can use the sacrifice effect, it's going to friggin' suck. But, that's what gambling is. Yeah, very cool card, all things considered. So you can use it to ramp, or you can use it to, eventually draw a shit ton of cards. Cool card. We have Seeker Camp Elevator. It is a 3-cost artifact. This is a more or less a reskin of Chromatic Lantern. So lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color, and it taps for add 1 mana of any color. Again, Chromatic Lantern has definitely been kind of phased out in terms of, strong or efficient mana rocks in real MTG. But again, these decks aren't meant to be super strong. They're just meant to be fun. They're meant to be thematic. So the fact that this can help you fix your, mana problems works well here. And it's an artifact. So, pulls double duty. We also have Ancient Elevator. Pay 4 for just a tap 2, or you can pay 2, tap, and sack it to draw 2 cards. More card draw, more colorless ramp. It's whatever. It's fine. Nothing special. We have the Star Compass. Now, we're getting into artifacts that have the relic subtype, which is obviously very important for cards that care about relics, if you control a relic. Tap, add 1 mana of any color a land you control could produce. So that's pretty cool. Very, very strong for a 2-cost. 3, and tapping it, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an artifact card, you may add it to your hand. So, and again, another mana sink. It's probably not going to be used very often, but it's still pretty cool. We have Seeker Camp Telescope, a 5 cost. Tap it, look at the top card of target player's library. If it's an artifact, you may reveal it to create a relic token. So you may obviously use this to show the top card of your deck to generate value. You may also look at the top card of your opponent's deck for more information. But if you want that relic token, you will also show them. Pretty cool. Add 2 mana of any one color. Not a bad card. Not a bad card. We don't have too many sources of ramp in the deck. I did some quick card counting math shenanigans. We have 8 forms of ramp in this deck. So our artifacts definitely need to pull heavy weight there. We have Third Works, a artifact relic, double red. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose one. Create a relic token, draw a card, then discard a card, or exile target card from a graveyard. Just, general good stuff the deck kind of wants to do. It's an artifact, it's a relic, it do things. We also have the Detached Arm. Oh gosh. A 2 cost relic, pay 1, sacrifice it, destroy a target artifact. Oh, I can still feel it. Very, very disturbing. We have Cradle of Desire, 3 cost. Sacrifice Cradle of Desire, choose 2 target players. Each of them searches their library for a card, then shuffles their library and puts that card on top. Pretty cool. Love this card. Being able to kind of wish for a card, but not really get it. Very on flavor for what the Cradle of Desire actually does. Again, it is a relic. We also have the Scale Umbrella, 3 cost relic. It enters with 5 combat counters on it. You can tap, target attacking creature you don't control. When it's blocked, remove X amount of combat counters of this card. It deals X less damage to the blocking creature. When there are no counters left on this card, destroy it. Just helps you play a bit more defensively early game. We have Blade of the Narehate, a 3 cost artifact equipment. The equipped creature gets +3/+3. It doesn't untap during its untap step, and when the equipped creature deals deals damage to a player, create a 1/1 Narehate token, equip 1. Not bad. So for a 4 cost +3/+3, and if it deals damage, make a 1/1. Pretty good. Cool thing is, obviously, you can move this around in between your creatures if you don't if you want to keep creating these 1/1 Narehate tokens. Only problem being, of course, you're going to go through a turn cycle where you swing with something. With this, hopefully you make a token. It's going to get back to your turn. It won't untap. And then you put this on something else and you swing again. That one's not going to untap next turn, but your first one will. So you're kind of taking turns over time with this card, depending on if you're moving it around. Cool card though. We also have Dissection Tools, another 3 cost artifact, some equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to another creature, put a neg1/neg1 counter on target creature that blocked it. Equip 2. It's pretty mid. 3 cost, equip 2, uncommon. Yeah, it's not great. We also have Far Caress, a 3 cost legendary artifact relic. When it untaps, create a relic token. You can pay 3 and tap it to put a neg1/neg1 counter on target creature, then proliferate. Don't know if I'm going to keep this card as it is. It is one of the only times we use proliferate in our set design. I kind of love everything else about it. I'm just not sure whether or not we want to keep the proliferate. I do love the idea of it being able to make something smaller. It's kind of might kill off a token or something, and then it untaps and you make relic tokens. So it's pretty cool. Not bad. Next we have Bondrewd's Whistle. Hell yeah, this card is so sick. So it's a quad black legendary artifact relic with ward 2. Whenever a Delver creature you control dies, exile it and create a token copy of it, only it is a 1/1 skeleton in addition to its other types. When this creature is destroyed, you may shuffle up to 3 Delvers exiled with this card's effect into your library. Really cool. So obviously this is playing on the fact that the Umbra hands are not really themselves. Bondrewd kind of being them. They die, they don't really die, they come back. Bondrewd controls them. It's a cool card. I love it. It's really sick. Next we have the Zoaholic. We can't have a Bondrewd deck without the Zoaholic, can we? And of course, we did hear earlier that, you know, there was a particular card that cared about the Zoaholic, which was Remio Captain Shroud. So we do have a couple of cards that kind of work like this in conjunction with each other. So Remio cares about the Zoaholic. What does the Zoaholic do? So it's a legendary artifact relic. Pay 4, tap it, sacrifice a non-token delver you control. You control target player during that player's next turn. So it's like a Mindslaver effect. You cannot target the same player with this ability more than once each game. So this card is meant to be like a Mindslaver that's repeatable, but you can't repeat it on the same person. That's fine. And you can tap, sack it, draw 2 cards. Remio, if you have Zoaholic on board, at the beginning of your end step, you may exile a card from a graveyard. So just cool little interactions. I really like the Zoaholic. This is going to be fun shenanigans when it hits the board. It is very heavily costed, mind you. Like that's 9 mana to, you know, and sacrificing something to take someone's turn. So and you can't repeat it on that same player. So, you know, it is very high costed. Definitely fun though. And we have the Blaze Reap. This is meant to be a equipment. Legendary artifact equipment relic. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. If it is a Delver, it gains +4/+4 instead. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, destroy target non-land permanent. Equip 2. So again, it's a fairly high costed card. Equip 2 is pretty good. If it's on a Delver, +4/+4. That makes some pretty big boys. Just removal spell on a cool enchantment. Cool artifact. We do have plenty of artifact removal and whatnot in these decks, as you saw with things like Detached Arm. Just being able to just destroy target artifact. So, you know, there are some pretty big bombs, but you know, it's whatever. You can remove them fairly well. So we're going to get into the lands real quick, and this is where things are going to tie up a little bit for us because we're going to be able to get through these fairly quickly. We've got the Eye Great Formation, legendary land. When the Eye Great Formation enters, sacrifice a land you control or send this card to the graveyard. Tap. Get double colorless, take 2 damage, and you can tap, sacrifice a token you control, add 1 mana of any color. So obviously it's not necessarily ramp. You're not getting 1 land and being able to tap it for 2 mana every turn. You do need to sacrifice a land, otherwise it is not staying on the board. It can also mana fix you if you sacrifice a token, so it's cool. We have Edo Front Crater. It taps for colorless, or you can tap, sacrifice an artifact, add 1 mana of any color. So one of the cool things about this card, obviously, is you can tap one of your relic tokens to help you mana fix, and then tap, sacrifice that relic token to give you another, you know, mana of any color, which is pretty cool. We have the Great Abyss, another legendary land. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. Or tap, sacrifice 7 non-land permanents you control. Deal 10 damage to any target. This is going to get fixed. This is going to get errated very, very quickly. This is probably also going to say non-land, non-token permanents. Because this just feels way too easy to abuse, or even just sacrifice itself as well. Even dealing 10 damage to any target just means the second that you hit under 10 like your 10 life, like your opponent is 10 life or less, all you have to do is just try and get to 7 permanents on board, tapping that. But this is like the one card I'm just like, I don't know what the hell I was thinking, what I was smoking when I made this. The Great Abyss is an unforgiving place, shrouded in mystery. Delvers travel from around the world to explore the unknown. Very cool. All right, we have the Netherworld Gate. Again, taps for colorless, or we can tap and tap an untapped Delver we control to add 1 mana of any color. We have our Delver's Base of Operations, which is basically the Maiden Abyss version of Command Tower. Tap, add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. We have Orth Tavern, again, just enters tap, add 1 mana of any color. I have plenty of these. Again, I'm building like 8 decks sort of thing. So these cards are going to be spread between decks, so yeah, we have the Lonely Gate. We have tap. It's a gate card for colorless, or we can add 1 mana of any color. Use this ability only if you control 2 creatures of the same type. So conditional, but we have a lot of Delvers, so it should always tap for any color we want. We have a Cryptic Cave. This is basically a tricycle land, so it'll tap for any of our 3 colors. It will enter tapped, and we can cycle it for 3. We have Edo Front Research Lab. As Edo Front Lab enters, pay 2 life. If you don't, it enters tapped. It'll just tap for red or black. Nothing too important here. We have Hail Hex Lookout. It just enters. You can tap it for black or red. You can pay 3, sacrifice it, put 2 -1/-1 counters on target creature, activate only as a sorcery. Nice little utility land. Sea of Corpses. This land will enter tapped. When this land enters, you may sacrifice a token you control. If you do, untap it. Cool. Obviously, you want to sacrifice one of your relic tokens for this. Just adds a blue or a black. Pretty cool. Abyssal Boneyard, an island swamp. It will enter tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. We can tap it for a blue or a black and cycle for 2. Edo Front Corridors. When Edo Front Corridors enters, return a land you control to the hand, and tap, you get blue and a black. Faster bounce land. It's, whatever. We, of course, have our swamps. Really cool little artwork here, where Rico descends to find Fuego. We have the Miniature Garden of Dawn, a legendary land. You can tap for a black. You can tap sacrifice this land to add double black, or you can tap sacrifice a Delver, add 1 mana of any color. As you can see, and as I've said multiple times already, sacrificing is very important in these cards, in the design space. We have Derelict Viewpoint. Enters tapped unless you lost life this turn. You can tap for a black, or tap, pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color. We have Rolling Hills, tap for a colorless with basic land cycling for 2. We have Hidden Hills, add 1 mana of any color, lose 1 life with basic land cycling for 1. Essentially the same card, but we can see the power difference. Basic land cycling 1, basically common, rare, 1 mana of any color, lose 1 life. Only common. So yeah. We have Skyward Waterfall, enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Just, taps for your red and blue. We have Flowing Aquascape, tap for red or blue, pay 1, tap, sack it, draw a card. We have Hidden Hot Springs, it enters tapped. When it enters, return a land you control to your hand. It's a slow bounce, or your, regular bounce lands. Nanachi's Secret Hot Springs, used to safely bathe and relax. We have Volcanic Refuge, a red or blue. You can pay 2 blue, tap and sacrifice this card. Target blue creature you control gains hexproof until end of turn. So this will obviously work for your commander. It'll work for a couple of other things, but it's not really going to hit too many targets because a lot of our cards are mono black Umbra hands. We also have Edo Front Steam Rooms, just blue or red, take 1 damage. We have our mountains. I think we have a couple arts for this, yeah. That's pretty cool. And our islands. Oh, we're running out of space. We have First Layer Waterfall. So it is a island. First Layer Waterfall enters tapped unless you control another island. You can pay 2, tap, scry 1, or it just taps for blue. And we have Unwelcoming Sands. When it enters, you may sacrifice a non-token creature you control. If you do, you may return up to 1 target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand, and it'll tap for colorless. This is a really cool card as well, obviously, because you can sack off one of your Delvers to return a special artifact you may need, or a relic that may come in handy again. It's a desert, which is interesting. Obviously, it's another utility land. You're not going to get any kind of color fixing out of this, but it does help you sculpt your hand. And our last card, an Ominous Spire. So this is just a fetch land, but it's going to fetch for your 3 colors. So it's going to be able to dig for your island, mountain, or swamp. Pretty cool card. That is the deck. Now we will head into the stats. So, stat time. We really wanted to break down the deck because, unlike a traditional deck list, of course, we can't put these cards into a program or on a website where we can see all this built in. So, what I did was I wanted to look at our mana curve, what our creature, land, artifact, card list was like, our pip ratio, that sort of thing. Basically, looking at these sorts of things is going to help us try and look at and try and find what either the weaknesses are, where we're lacking in some things, where we have too much of other things, and that is very useful. For example, the deck at the moment, as it stands, with all cards that were shown in this video so far, we have a total mana value of 204, which, without lands in the deck, is an average of about 3.2 per card, and the average cost with lands, you're looking at about 2.1. So, that does actually sound fairly low, which means I kind of feel like I'm going to end up adding a few more expensive cards to the list by the time we're done. If we have a look at our mana curve bar, which a little bar graph here, which I'm going to display on the screen for us, we have 3 1-drops, 17 2-drops, 25 3-drops, 9 4-drops, 6 5-drops, and 5 6-drops. So I don't mind this particular curve. It does definitely look like a type of mana curve you would probably want. But I just think, like, between that 4 and 5 slot, we could probably drag down our 3-drops and get into that, 11, 12 for our 4 and 5-drops, just to make things a little bit spicier. At the same time as well, I do think only having 3 1-drops turn 1, or having a turn 1 play, is kind of one of the big problems with this as well is I'm not a big fan of using things like Soul Ring. For example, like having cards that should be just auto-includes in every single deck isn't super fun, and it's not great design-wise. Like, we saw that I had created a card that was essentially our version of Command Tower. I don't mind that because it just helps with your mana fixing, but something like Soul Ring that just inherently makes your deck faster and doesn't seem interesting in the way that the card performs just doesn't make the game nearly as fun. Anywho, so going through that curve, we can see that there is much left to be desired. But looking over our... let's look at our card types and see what we've got here. So for creatures, we've got 28. We're running 35 lands, 14 artifacts, 3 enchantments, 8 sorceries, and 11 instants. The artifact number is a little lower than what it should be, because this is just labeling artifacts as a whole, not the creature artifacts. So that number should be a little higher, but I just wanted to make sure that we didn't have these artificially inflated, as it were. So regular artifacts 14 I think is fine. That's probably looking a little bit closer to 20. Like, we're getting closer to 20 with the artifact creatures. Creatures being around the 30 mark is fine for me. The land mark, I'm not 100% sure on just yet. 35 seems to be a pretty good spot. I'm pretty sure, like, the average is like 34, 35 to 30, 36. So 35 seems fine here. We have a couple of lands in the deck that have your basic land cycling and whatnot. So I don't think the land is going to be an issue anyway. As for pip ratio, we have 15 red, 54 black, and 22 blue. So, because of the heavy inclusion of relic tokens in this deck, technically we shouldn't see too many mana problems, but that is very, very high black pip usage in comparison to both red and blue. I've tried very hard to actually include other cards that are of other colors, but my only recourse, I guess, for this would just to be to rework or, drop the amount of black pips needed in certain cards to reduce the amount of black pips actually in this deck. That being said, I don't think it's too much of an issue. Like, I would realistically want black to be down in, like, the 40 and maybe blue up to, 30-ish and red to 20-ish sort of thing. But I think this is kind of fine for where it is. I don't think we're going to have too many mana problems, especially with the land base as it is. We have plenty of dual lands. We have plenty of card filtering. We have plenty of ways to make mana fixing. It's just quite interesting to see that, obviously with the amount of Umbra Hand cards that we run, that the black pips are as high as they are. But as for lands, we have lands at 23 generating blue mana, 21 generating red, and 20 generating black. So it seems kind of funny, actually, that
black is actually being generated the least while we have the most amount of black sources. But the problem here is the fact that we need to make sure that when we don't have our black cards, that we can play them. Which is why we're actually playing, which is why the land base is actually so tightly knit together. I do think I might take out a mountain or a island, probably add in another swamp, because I really do want to keep that 4/4/4 or 12-ish basic lands. So I'll just kind of swap those around as we need to. Also, as for our other kind of little statistics, the deck currently runs about 13 forms of removal, 15 forms of card draw. It's got 8 sources of ramp, 11 cards that create relic tokens, and 9 cards that are specifically relics as well. So, I mean, looking over these numbers, I know, people might not be particularly interested in this, but someone who is definitely into deck building and someone who wants to look at a particular list and go, this isn't functioning, or is this functioning the way I want it to, this is going to be very important for you. And these kinds of numbers are going to be something that is very important to you if you want a deck to run as intended. Hey, for some reason, I just can't seem to interact with my opponent. Well, you probably need more removal. Hey, I just can't seem to mana fix. Okay, are you creating enough relic tokens, or are you is your land base up to scratch? These sorts of things are very important if you actually want a deck to work. And something as well that also needs to be considered is, are you only playing a handful of games? You cannot expect a deck to work every single game. So if you're playing a deck and you're only playing 3-4 games in a single testing session, you go, it's just not doing this, it's just not doing this, it's just not doing this, but you're just unlucky those couple of games. It's going to create false, not necessarily false problems, but you could change something that doesn't necessarily need to be changed, or again, you might just be unlucky. Decks that look like, or decks that should work as intended, will sometimes just not. This deck might need only 32 lands, and even running 35, I might not draw enough lands to play efficiently. So we do have to keep these in mind. We have to make sure that we are getting enough games in and enough information through both gameplay and through looking at our numbers here, that we can make more informed decisions on what we are playing and what we're creating. So in regards to future lists, and in regards to, I guess, this list as well, I have so many other cards. So many that could be included. And with that means that, obviously these numbers are going to change. Do I want to scale back on the neg 1 counters? Do I want to make it just more artifact focused? Do I want to make it a more creature style deck? Just let's remove all the beasts and we're just gonna make it humans and black whistle army. These things are obviously something that you can eventually do as well, because this is ultimately something that I do want to be able to share with the public, and that is why I've created this video, because I want to be able to go ahead and have you guys be able to print these all out and play Bondrewd versus Nanachi, or Nanachi versus Faputa, and all these really cool decks that I've been working really hard on. But I'm so happy with how this deck in particular has turned out, just from a design perspective, how it looks, that I thought I wanted to give it a showcase it for you guys. I don't know how often I'm going to be uploading these. This is obviously going to be like a version 1 of Bondrewd. When these lists are finalized, and I've mentioned this a couple of times over things like Reddit, Discords, that I will create a proper list for you guys to look at, so that when it is available to the public, all you need to do is find the cards in that said list, and you can print it out, and you can go to town and you can play, Bondrewd. Or you can go ahead and print out all the cards. Trust me, we're at 900 now. That's going to take you a while. But if you want to print them all out and you just want to experiment and build things yourself, go ahead, I'm all for it. But these lists are what I'm making using my playtesting and, obviously how I've designed the set. So, it's up to you guys whether or not you want to base the deck off of what testing has been done, or if you think you know better. Completely up to you. But anyway, I know this is going to be a very long video. I very much doubt everyone's going to sit around and watch it and, get through it or whatever. But, I really love Made in Abyss, and I really wanted to share this. I've been sharing cards on and off for a little while now, and I think this was a really cool way to share it. Some of the cards, they look a bit nicer and better than just in photos, because I think this video is really kind of showing just how cool they can look using imagery from the manga and some of them from the wiki as well, the art. But yeah, so and as well, it's some of the cards, they might have the wrong keywords, details might be missing, they might have the wrong borders and stuff, whatever. They are some of them are aesthetic choices, some of them are just because it's the program doesn't want to work sometimes and it won't show the correct borders, and it is what it is, silly computer stuff. But they're fake cards at the end of the day, and they still work as intended, which is the main thing. And thank you very much for following, watching, listening, and I will hopefully see you in another video where we will cover the Nanachi deck, and in future possibly the Faputa one, and the Belchero one, and the Misks one, and the and an Esper fishing deck. Like, we have so many cool things built up in these cards. So 900 cards gives you a lot of stuff you can work with. So yeah, fingers crossed. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys, and see you in the next one. Ta-ta.